Alright, boom, here we go. First ever video on this channel. Welcome you guys. I've never been great at introductions. I will say I'm pretty pumped to finally get this started. This is something I've wanted to do for a while, but I always just put it off. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, if you are, and sit back and enjoy today's topic. So yeah, the first topic I wanted to cover, I think, is a pretty relevant topic to a lot of people nowadays, and it is why I think modern life was ruining my brain. And chances are, if you're here, you can probably relate to that too. I feel like a lot of people nowadays just can't focus on shit, dude. Like, I used to have such an issue focusing, and to be honest, if I don't implement some of the things that I'm going to get into a little later, I can still find it pretty difficult, to be honest. Um, I think most of you guys are going to see this coming, but like the first and probably biggest reason why you can't focus is your phone, dude. Like, you sit down to work on something, and about 10 minutes in, like, you're already on your phone. And you probably didn't even mean to do it, to be honest. Somehow you've been scrolling on TikTok or Instagram for like 45 minutes. Like, for me, it was actually crazy because I would sit down and do something, and I would go like check something important on my phone. And a lot of the times I wouldn't even actually check what I was like planning on checking for. I would instinctively open up Instagram, and then 45 minutes later, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I didn't even mean to fucking go on Instagram. Like, my brain's been programmed to open this shit up like I'm fucking brainwashed. And, like, I'm telling you, dude, this shit is fucking rewiring our brains, and it's intentional. I think it's crazy because deep down, I knew this for a long time, but I just chose to ignore it and not do anything about it. But eventually, I just got so sick of being like unproductive, being fucking tired, and not doing any of the things that like I set out to do. And all this really boils down to cheap dopamine. So social media isn't the only place this is coming from. Our generation, I'm in my early 20s for reference, so like Gen Z, is so bad when it comes to this, and I don't really think it's all our fault necessarily. Like, I think a lot of this shit was pushed on us, and that's another thing I could honestly make a whole video on. So I'm not gonna like get too deep into that, but like nicotine, porn, online gambling, weed, alcohol, all these things are super common among our generation. And I'm not saying like weed and alcohol, for example. Like, I'm not gonna say you shouldn't use them because I'm not a hypocrite. Um, I think they can be used in moderation. I use them myself in moderation. Um, but like, I think weed specifically has become super normal to use every day for a lot of people in our generation, because of how easy it is with dab pens. And it's been legalized, which I'm not against by any means. But like, I used to smoke all the time, back in the day, like especially with dab pens becoming so widespread. Like, for the back half of my high school experience, I pretty much always had a dab pen. And if I didn't have one, like, one of my buddies did for sure. And it wasn't like, it was so easy to just come home and rip the dab and do nothing, dude. Like, I can make a whole video on weed, to be honest, because it's not a black and white topic. Like I said, like, I don't think weed is bad, but I think, like anything, if it's not done in moderation, like, it's not good for you, dude. Flat out. But yeah, we can dive deeper into like my all my thoughts on weed actually, specifically, in a different video. Let me know if that's something you guys are like interested in hearing. But moving on, let's talk about some of the things that you can do to like unfry your brain. So the first thing I think is really important, and that's reading. Before you click off and call me a nerd or whatever, like, dude, I used to fucking hate reading. I never wanted to do that shit back in the day. But now, like, I think it's so important. Um, the more you do it, the more you'll notice. It's almost like a form of meditation. Like, it helps you kind of settle your mind down, and you are simultaneously learning, which is another thing your brain craves, is knowledge. Um, it's like working out. If you don't exercise your muscles or you stop going to the gym, you're going to get weaker and lose your physique. So the same logic applies to your brain. If all you're ever doing is feeding your brain this slop, like this garbage, it's gonna affect it, plain and simple. And you can read like whatever you want, really. It doesn't have to be self-help or nonfiction. I think there are lots of things to take away from good fictional books. And like I said, just the act of sitting down and reading for even 20 or 30 minutes is good for you, just to like focus on one thing for a little bit. But yeah, like I think it just find a good book, because at first it might be difficult for you to sit down and read. So like don't start off with something super complicated or like something that's gonna fucking like be boring for you. Find something that you actually think that, like, a topic that you will be interested in, and just start there. And then the more you read, the more you're actually gonna start enjoying it and looking forward to it. Then you can start branching out to other things. The next thing I would say is working out. If you don't want to go to the gym or don't have money for a membership, that's fine. All you really need is some open space and a mat for the floor. Like, exercise is so important. It boosts your neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, which literally enhances your mood and focus. I promise, if you start doing this, you will find it so much easier to sit down and focus on something afterwards. Even just going on a walk, like, without your phone, will help. But ultimately, I would still recommend working out, or, to be honest, doing both, because I think obviously it's important to be healthy physically, and I think it will just help your overall confidence. And I think it's important to train your brain to do things that challenge yourself, and to be able to do things that you don't want to do. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's pretty simple, you guys. Like, if you want things to change, then you have to change. Don't let people make you think it's some complicated recipe to turn your life around. It's really just a lot of small things, and it's doing those small things consistently. Uh, One of my favorite quotes is, "If you change nothing, nothing will change." But yeah, that's gonna do it for today, you guys. If you stayed for the whole video, thank you for watching.